Welcome to another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Sparky Fifer from Sports Radio 105.7 FM The Fan, co-host of the Wendy's Big Show weekday afternoons from 2 until 6. He, of course, Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. Read all of his stuff here at RacineSportsZone.com. Gery, let's talk a little bit about some Packer football. They dispersed of the Dallas Cowboys last week, and of course it involves the Cowboys, which means there has to be a controversial call, which of course there was again. But by the letter of the law, by the letter of the rule, that was not a controversial call. They made the right call. That was not a catch by Des Bryant.
Oh, yeah, there was absolutely no question about it. I mean, I was watching the NFL show last night, and all the players on the sidelines, like Clay Matthews, were all yelling, they go, he did not, carry through the process. It wasn't completed.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I wrote this in my column for the Journal-Times the other day. I don't have any sympathy for Cowboy Nation after they hosed the Lions the week before in an obvious pass interference that was overruled.
Okay, but wait a second. I mean, it's not the Cowboys fans' fault that they screwed it up, or the Cowboys players that set up.
No, but the referee screwed it up. Absolutely correct. But I'm just saying Cowboy Nation is whining, that they got a bad break on this. No, the mistake in the Packer game was technically in the books, The mistake that was made in the Cowboys-Lions game, right. That didn't make any sense. It wasn't in the book.
Right. The rule has to be changed. I think we all agree with that. It's a dumb rule. It has to be changed. But the Packers did benefit to a degree, but the Cowboys also had mistakes in that game that they can look back at it and say, look, that might have been part of the reason why we lost, but we had other things going on, like Robo turning over the football.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching it. They had replays last night of the game, quarter by quarter. Dallas was up 14-7 late first half. They're moving. They're deep in Green Bay territory, and Tony mishandled the snap. Okay, so they could have easily been up 21-7. That game might have been over.
Sure.
I'm not. You never say it against the Packers, but it could have conceivably been really tough for the Packers to come back. But then on top of it, they compounded by missing the field goal. It's like not a good situation.
No, not at all. And then you look at the Green Bay Packers and how they played in that football game. Devontae Adams may have had his breakout game that everybody's been waiting for. He took another step. Now, the Seahawks are next. And we'll talk about that.
I like that guy at the beginning of the season.
Sure.
But that guy's.
Now, okay,
he's going to be a Pro Bowl receiver. It's just a matter of when.
At the beginning of the year, it was Jared Boykin in that role, not Devontae Adams, when they played the Seahawks. Now it's Devontae Adams. Not only is it Devontae Adams, but it's Devontae Adams coming off a big week against the Seahawks, which gives Seattle something else to have to think about going into this game.
No question. You know how many catches Devontae Adams had in the first game against Seattle?
1, maybe? 0? Yeah,
0.
I was going to say 0.
I guarantee you he's going to have 4 or 5 minimum against Seattle this time around.
What I'm concerned about is this whole thing with Richard Sherman. Now, Aaron Rodgers continues to say, I throw the ball to the guy that's open, right? Okay. If you say so, okay, fine. But, I mean, if you listen to some of the other guys that have been on this team who have claimed that they've been open and he doesn't throw the ball, I don't really know what to believe. But either way. So Rodgers comes to this game and says, look, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm telling you right now what I'm doing. First play on the box. Play action to Lacey, and whoever Richard Sherman is on, I'm throwing at. First ball, way over the top. Whoever, if he's on Jordy, that's where I look. If I want Jordy on him. First play action Eddie Lacy, throw the ball 40 or 50 yards, and let Jordy Nelson go get it. First play, and that's the end of it.
You're saying send the message right away.
Right away, Richard Sherman. You better be on your game, because I'm not ignoring you today. And just get him on his heels, because you go through the first quarter, and Sherman's out there, not going to throw at me again. Then that changes the whole scope of the Seattle defense, because now you're on the sidelines going, well, he's throwing at him again. Let's change some things here if he's just going to ignore him.
This was before your time, but when Lombardi coached the Packers, and Bart Starr was the quarterback, he would periodically do that on the very first play of the game, throw a bomb right off the bat.
Holmgren did it too.
And Lombardi was like, as you said, sending them a message that we're here, we're all business today. We're not.
Right.
And even though that's the only time they would throw it the whole game, it planted a seed in the defensive backs that, hey, maybe they're going to go deep on us a lot. And then they got to guard their territory. But the other thing about that first game, and nobody's really talking about it, but Bulaga, do you remember this? Got hurt early in the game, and they put in Derek Sherrod.
Got killed.
And it was a massacre. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was, just holding on for dear life. Now Bulaga's back, and I think that should make a substantial difference.
I think so, too. I think this Packers team has wanted this Seahawks team all year. And to be honest with you, They may not tell you to your face.
Exactly.
But I think they wanted him in Seattle, too.
I agree.
I think they wanted him in Seattle. You know what? You
totally agree.
We'll show you. We'll come there and beat you. I said it weeks ago. I want the Seahawks in Seattle because I think the Packers will beat them in Seattle. I still think the Packers are going to beat them in Seattle. And I don't know necessarily it's going to be a field goal game. That's not my prediction. I think they'll win by more than 3. But I think they're going to be the better team on Sunday. And I think when you turn off that TV, you're going to go, they're the better football team. And part of the reason is there's no Percy Harvin. There are no wideouts that scare anybody on this team.
Agree.
There's no tight end that scares anybody on this team. Russell Wilson's feet scare me, and Marshawn Lynch's feet, that scare me.
Right.
Those two. Outside of that, I'm not worried about the rest.
I can agree with you more on everything you said. If you saw the comments from the Packer players this week, it was a quiet confidence. It's like nobody was running their mouth, but you could tell they feel very confident about their chances of going into CenturyLink Field. It should be a heck of a game because you know Seattle's going to come at you for the time.
But the other thing is this. Your rookie center played in that game in Seattle, remember? It was, how's the rookie center going to be?
Exactly.
Right, it's going to be a problem. Well, he's playing there. He's dealt with the noise. He knows what it's going to be.
Don't you think they're so much better than they were from week 1?
Sure, but I'd say sometimes the noise will affect the offensive line and the quarterback being able to hear each other. This isn't going to be a new experience for Leslie.
Right.
He was there earlier.
And you know what? Rip Van Winkle has woken up, a.k.a. Julius Peppers. He realized
he played well against the Cowboys.
The lights are on now.
Right.
Exactly. And you kind of expected that being the veteran that he is, but you could tell his intensity level moved up a notch in this last playoff game.
Now, I don't know what the Packers are going to do, but if it's me, I'm spying Russell Wilson.
Absolutely.
I am not letting somebody come off of Russell Wilson.
I just saw Ed Matthews. He's athletic enough. You know, he can run with them.
No, but I don't want to stop the pass rush. I mean, that's my concern is I don't want to stop my pass rush by Russell Wilson by keeping your best pass rusher out in space because whoever sits out in space is going to have to cover whoever's coming across the middle. I would like to see a safety even maybe come up and play up and just play one high safety the whole game because again I'm not scared of your wide receivers. Sam Shields, Trevon Williams, I'll take my chances with them on Curse.
Yeah, you know what? And the Packer secondary is better than everybody's talking about the Seattle secondary, right? And understandably so. It's probably the best secondary in football. I'll tell you what, Packer secondary is pretty good too.
I agree.
And not only you're starting 4, they got 2 or 3 guys that can come in and give you depth. So
the key to this game is containing Marshawn Lynch.
Absolutely.
If you contain Marshawn Lynch,
everything.
You win a football game. Yeah. It's that simple. And Marshawn Lynch did not have a big game his last game in the playoffs.
Right.
So if you come in and go, okay, Marshawn, we're going to keep you under 100. You keep Marshawn Lynch under 100, you win this game walking away.
And the other thing, I hope the Packers come out with the same game plan that they did against Cowboys and play smash-mouth football.
That lasted for one series.
But that was,
you know what? It was one series, and then they forgot they had Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
And then
but there's speculation that the asthma kicked in.
That was what happened. Yeah. But at halftime, again, my sideline reporters, I love you. Good Lord. Aaron Andrews, I talked to Coach McCarthy, asked him what happened to Eddie Lacy. Is he all right after he did play after the first series? McCarthy assured me he was fine, and then it was just the fact that they didn't have a lot of possessions. And then after the game's over, then we hear about Lacy's asthma.
Exactly.
Now, that's not going to be a factor in Seattle because they're saying it's going to be about 50. So asthma will not play a factor in Lacy coming out of that ball game.
But that opening drive against the Cowboys was as impressive of an opening drive I've ever seen by a Packer team, period. They just went right down the field and annihilated the Cowboys defense. Right. And what it showed to me is that this offense line, which we thought is pretty good, is real good.
The other thing about this is the offensive line has to maintain its composure. I don't want any personal foul flags.
I agree.
I don't want guys getting kicked out of football games because that's it with TJ Lang in that Dallas game, okay?
Sure.
I wasn't worried about him getting kicked out.
Right.
I was worried about Bakhtiari getting kicked out for grabbing Nick Hayden and slamming him to the ground.
Right.
I saw this and, well, Bakhtiari's out. They have nobody to play left tackle. This is going to get ugly if that happens.
But you know,
have to maintain your composure.
I would have been concerned about that as well with Lang, but it was a fluke. You haven't seen this from them over the years.
They have fought this year.
They're aggressive, but they never took it to that level up. But that was obviously a late hit.
Gery, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a game that's going to be physical.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some shots going on back and forth. Nobody's going to be act out from anybody. It's going to get nasty out there.
I hope NFL Films puts some mic on Richard Sherman. That's all I'm going to say, because there's going to be a lot of talking going on in this game.
If they throw the ball out.
But the Packers don't really have trash talkers. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, that's a credit to McCarthy and his coaching staff. I mean, these guys are really, in the true sense, professionals. They go about their business in the right way.
I think Barrington talks a little bit of trash, so I've heard. All right, your pick for the game.
Got to go with the Packers. Went with them last week, and I really have a good feeling that Seattle obviously has more talent.
No.
They do.
No.
They do.
On offense, they don't.
Defensively, it's not even close.
Defensively, they do. But offensively, it's not.
No, but that might be a push.
Richard Lacey, I'll take Lacey because he's younger, number one. And number two, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I'll take it, Aaron Rodgers. Offensive line's even.
Right. There's not much of a gap.
And wide receivers, definitely the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, tight ends.
Tight ends, wash.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they got a little better offense, but I think it just should be a heck of a game.
All right, so what's your score?
I'm going to say the Packers are going to light it up. 35-27. Packers.
All right. I take the Packers to win this one 27-20. We'll talk to you next week. We'll see what happens between the Packers and the Seahawks next week here on Sports Junkies at RaceSeatSportsZone.com.